In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your own customized LaTeX Beamer theme. If you have LaTeX Beamer slides, they usually look like this. We have a title page, and here is the content with the title and a text body. This here is the default theme. We can change this, of course, with the command use theme. We can select some theme, Berlin, for example. And if we use this, the slides would change their appearance. And then the nice thing is that all slides have the same look, and we don't have to manage this for each slide. So there's a huge list of ready-to-use LaTeX Beamer themes that you can find online. But maybe you are in the situation that you have to create your own layout. So, for example, if the funding of your research project requires you to insert a certain logo on each slide, or maybe you have to meet the conditions of a corporate design layout, and so on and so on. Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to add some decoration elements to your slide, like for example such a decoration bar or logo. We have a look how to change the header and footer of the slides, and then we see how to change the overall appearance of your text. I don't want to give you a full tutorial on all the little details that the Beamer themes have to offer. I just want to give you a quick overview of what is generally possible and what important commands are there, so you have a starting point to learn more and to research the things that you specifically are interested in. Unfortunately, you don't find much stuff online. This is one reason why I created this video. And once you have a starting point, you can use the Beamer user guide to research about the topic. The Beamer user guide is huge, 245 pages, and it's not a good starting point if you don't know anything. But once you have the most important commands, you already know what you are looking for, and you can use the Beamer user guide to learn more. So without further ado, let's start to create our own Beamer theme. Now we have to find a name for our new theme. I would like to simply call it My Theme. And this name now is important because we have to create a new file, which we then have to call Beamer theme, then your name, mytheme.sty. We save it. I should now see it here in my folder, Beamer theme, mytheme.sty. This is our style file, which contains all the important information. Now I can compile this without error, hopefully, but we see we fall back to the default layout, and now we can change step by step the appearance of the slides. So what do we do at the beginning? I would like to add some decoration elements, this bar and the logo. So let's start with this. What can we do? We can use the command set Beamer template. And I think I will enhance this text a little bit so you can read it. And I would like to put the decoration elements in the headline, so I change the appearance of the headline with this command, set Beamer template headline, and then in curly brackets I can add my stuff that I would like to put into the headline. So at first, let's simply include a graphic with include graphics bar png, and of course I should set the width of this graphic. At the moment I use the aspect ratio 16:9, so my slides are 16 centimeters wide. So I could say here I want to have the width 16 centimeters and the bar should be spread out. I have to compile this one, and now I see this bar is spread out over the whole width of the slide. maybe it's not a good idea to use a fixed length for the width of our image, because if I would like to change the aspect ratio, also the width of my page will change, and it's then hard to predict what the image will do. So I would prefer to use some generic unit of length at this point, and I could use text width, which should do the same for us, but it's more stable if I change the aspect ratio, for example, to 4:3. Now, in our next step, I would like to add the logo, maybe here on the upper right corner. So what will I do now? I will add another include graphics command. Maybe I try 1.5 centimeters for the width. And now I add the logo.png. Save this and compile, and I see I have the logo, but it's on the left side. I want it on the right side, so I have to play a little bit with it. So in order to move the logo to the right side, I have to insert an empty line between the images, and then I can use the command hfill, and this should do the trick. But maybe I'm not quite happy about the fact that the logo is completely at the border of the page. So I would like to have some tiny space here, and I could use the hspace command, maybe with a star, because it's completely at the border. And then I add some length, 3 millimeters, for example. Try this one. And well, now we have some space between the border and the logo. In the next video, I would like to add some information in the footline. So I can basically use the same command, set beamer template, but now with the parameter footline. And then again, I can add whatever I like. At this point, I could maybe use the following commands: insert title, insert author, and insert institute, which should allow us to add the corresponding information in the footline. So if I save this and compile everything, I see that the information, the title, the author, and the institute are all written in the footline. Of course, at the moment, the layout isn't really nice, so we add a little bit more content here. For example, I could again use the hspace command to stay away from the border, to add a little bit of margin. And then I could fill the space between the three entries with the hfill command. And it would then look a bit nicer, spread out over the whole width of the page. Now I would like to change the appearance of the footline to be able to distinguish between the footline and the main body. And in order to do this, I add a colorbox environment here. So I say begin beamer colorbox. I have to specify a few options. So I would like to set height and width for this color box. For the height, I take 1.5 EM. So it should be a little bit taller than the text itself. And width should again be the text width. And then I have to give the name of the color scheme which I would like to use. I would like to use the color scheme foot, which I have to define. And we will do this in a second. But first, let me close this environment, beamer color box. And let's change the indentation a little bit. So now we have to set the color scheme, set beamer color foot. And what should the color scheme be? I have to specify a foreground and a background. Background should be blue, for example, and the foreground is, this is the font, the text. I would like to have black color here. So I save this and compile, and then it looks like this. It's not really beautiful, but let's try, for example, white text so that we can at least read what it's written there. This is a bit nicer. Now we see that the fact that we put so much content in our headline, this moved the title further down, and we have lots of unused white space here. And maybe we don't want this space go to waste, so we can think about moving the title a little bit up. So what do I do here? Again, I use the command set beamer template. Now I use it on the frame title. I now insert a V space with a negative length, -5 millimeters, for example. Let's try it. And then I add an H space, -3 millimeters. And then I use insert title, insert frame title, and this should allow me to customize the frame title environment a little bit, and we see now it's less space that goes to waste, and it looks a bit nicer. Now I would like to show you a new command, and we want to change the appearance of the text. So we try the command set beamer font. What can we do here? I try to change the appearance of the frame title, and now I would like to change the size of the frame title. Maybe I try a huge title, and it should have another shape like IT shape, which should give me the text in italics. So I save this, compile, and I see now the text is in italics and it is a little bit larger as it was before. Of course, we can also change other things, like I could also use the command set beamer color. We already used this before, set beamer color. We defined a new color scheme, but we can use the command also on color schemes that already exist. For example, I could change the appearance of the title. I could say, for example, the foreground should be green. And I see the title of my presentation is now written in this beautiful green color. Of course, we can also define our own colors, because the predefined colors aren't necessarily the most beautiful ones. So I use the command define color. I give it a name like a nice green. Then I have to specify which encoding I would like to use. So I use the RGB color scheme. And then I select my colors on a range from 0 to 255. I would like to have a dark green, so maybe I use 50 in the red channel, 100 in the green channel, and maybe 20 in the blue channel. So let's try this. And of course I add nice green to this color scheme. And now this looks a little bit nicer. So for the next things I would like to show you, I need to add a little bit more content. I add a new frame with an itemize environment. So begin itemize. And let's add some items here. Item 1 and item 2. And I would also like to add a block environment. Begin block, title, block content, so the next slides should look like this. We have this itemize environment and a block. All right, now we can change the appearance of those elements. In the next step, I would like to set the beamer color for the item environment, and I set it to FG equal red. This should make those little triangles of this itemize environment red. And I also set the block environment, set beamer color block title to foreground white and background blue. And I also change the block body to foreground black and background. I have some typos here. Background. I define a new color, my color, and I set it to define color, my color, RGB again, and I would like to have 100, 180 and 250. This should be a light blue with a high green content, so it looks like this. Now there's one more thing I would like to show you because I really like it. I think it's really nice. There is the command use inner theme, which I usually use with the parameter rounded. And what does it do? It changes the overall appearance of the text body in some certain aspects. We see this here on the third slide, where we have now these round bullet points for the itemize environment, and here this block environment has those rounded corners now. It didn't do much, but it changes some aspects of our theme. We could also use this with the parameter rectangles. I never tried this before, so I'm curious. Okay, now we have those squares as bullet points, and there are some more options which we could use. We could also use circles. And we can also add options here. There is, for example, the option shadow equal true. So if we use this doesn't work. Oh. Does it work with rounded? It works with rounded, and now we can see that the block environment here has this little shadow. Finally, I would like to show you two more things. One of them is this command ProvidesPackage, which isn't really necessary because it doesn't change the layout of your style file. It simply gives you the opportunity to add some information that is going to be written in the log file. And the other thing which I would like to show you is the declare option beamer command, which allows you to define options for your beamer theme. In this example, I have the option blue background, which allows me to change the background color of the slides. It's this background canvas. I set it to a color background blue, which I defined here. It's a very, very light blue. And now if I use this option and add it here in my main LaTeX file to the use theme command, I should be able to change the background. And since this is an option, I can remove it and change the background of all slides really easily. So I think this should be enough for now. We have seen a lot of ideas how to change the appearance of our LaTeX slides. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you to build your own customized Beamer themes. So until next time, bye.